Let me ask you a question. Have you ever reached a goal and still felt empty? Have you ever hit a target but missed the point? You see, most people are in a race to achieve, but very few are in a race to become. They chase goals like a dog chasing cars. Fast, frantic, but with no direction. And here's the truth that changed my life. Goals will give you a sense of purpose, but growth will give you the power to live it. You don't get success by working harder on your job. You get success by working harder on yourself. If you make time only for goals, you'll burn out. But if you make time for growth, real, deep, personal growth, the goals start chasing you. In this video, I'm going to show you why becoming the right kind of person is more valuable than hitting any goal. Why your schedule must have time for development, not just deadlines, and how to finally break free from the trap of being busy without becoming better. So stick with me, because by the end of this message, you won't just think differently about success. You'll start living like the person who deserves it. Let's begin. The trap of outcome obsession. Don't just chase the prize. Become the person worthy of it. Let me start with something that might hit home. Most people today are obsessed with results. They want the money, the promotion, the applause, the end result, the recognition. And I understand. I wanted those things too. But here's what I discovered, and I hope you'll remember this. You can hit a goal and still feel empty. You can reach the top and still wonder why you feel so low. You can succeed outwardly and still feel broken inwardly. Why does that happen? Because we've been taught to chase outcomes, but nobody taught us how to grow into the kind of person who deserves them. That's what I call the trap of outcome obsession. It looks like success from the outside, but it leaves you hollow on the inside. Let's talk about this. We live in a world that celebrates winners, that celebrates finish lines, the trophies, the gold medals, the paychecks, the photo at the top of the mountain. And I'm not here to say that those things are wrong. In fact, I believe in big goals. I believe in achievement. But here's the truth. Most people miss. It's not the result that makes you valuable. It's who you had to become in order to earn that result. Because if you skip the personal growth and somehow get the reward, you won't hold it for long. Or worse, you'll hold it, and it won't mean anything. Let me put it this way. The goal is the tool, the becoming. That's the treasure. Now here's something I've seen too many times. People say, Jim, once I hit that goal, I'll finally be happy. So they push, they grind, they hustle, and one day they make it. But what happens next? They feel good for a moment, and then they ask, now what? Suddenly, they want more. 10,000 isn't enough. Now they want 20. The new car isn't enough. Now they need a bigger one. The applause isn't loud enough. Now they want a standing ovation. It never ends. When you're obsessed with the outcome, enough is never enough. The goalpost keeps moving. You become a prisoner to your own success. That's not ambition. That's addiction. And that's why people reach their goals and still feel lost. So here's the shift I want you to make. Don't just chase the goal. Become the kind of person who would naturally achieve that goal. Want to be a millionaire? Don't just think about the money. Think about the person who earns it. The discipline, the patience, the mindset. That's where your focus should be. Because here's the magic. When you grow into that person, the money becomes a byproduct. Even if you lose the dollars, the you that you became, that's yours to keep. That's the real wealth. Too many people measure their lives only by what they've accomplished. But a better question is this. Who are you becoming in the process? Every day you should ask yourself, did I grow? Did I improve? Did I stay consistent with my values? Because results can come and go. But growth is permanent. It shapes your identity. It strengthens your character. You may not get the result today, but if you keep growing, one day you'll look back and realize you became someone you're proud of. And that's something no one can take away. So how do you escape the trap? Start with this simple idea. Measure your day not just by what you did, but by who you became. Don't just check off tasks. Check in with your character. Don't just set goals. Set standards for the person you're becoming. Because when you become disciplined, the goals come. When you become focused, the opportunities arrive. When you become strong, the success lasts. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. Let me challenge you now. Every time you set a goal, stop and ask, what kind of person achieves this? What would that version of me look like? How would they think, act, speak, lead, respond, and then go to work? Not just on the goal, but on yourself. Because if you build the person, the goals will follow. That's the secret most people never hear. They chase the prize, but ignore the preparation. They rush to the finish line, but skip the foundation. Don't make that mistake. Make time for growth, not just goals. Because goals might open a door, but growth is what allows you to walk through it and stay there. If you've been chasing outcomes, it's time to make a shift. Chase becoming. Chase wisdom. Chase strength of character. And the life you're looking for will start chasing you. Now let's move on to chapter 2, where we talk about why who you become matters more than anything you achieve. Shall we? Who you become is more important than what you achieve. Success is not something you get, it's something you grow into. Let me begin with a foundational truth. I learned early in my journey, don't ask what am I getting, ask what am I becoming. That question right there changes the entire game. Because most people go through life chasing the result. They focus on the car, the cash, the title, the trophy. And sure, those things are exciting. They shine, they get attention. But I'm telling you now, those things won't sustain you. What will sustain you is who you become while pursuing them. Because here's the secret. If you become the right kind of person, you can get everything else you want. But if you get what you want without becoming someone strong enough to handle it, you'll lose it. Or worse, you'll feel empty when you get it. Let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I met a man who told me, "Jim, I want to be a millionaire." I said, "Wonderful. But don't do it for the money." He looked confused. I said again, "Do it for what it will make of you to become one." Because to become a millionaire, you have to develop discipline. You have to learn how to manage time. You have to grow in leadership, in courage, in wisdom, in patience. You have to outgrow your excuses and build real habits. And that's the real reward. Not the million, but the you that was forged in the process. You see, people spend so much time asking, what's the best way to succeed? And I always say, that's the wrong first question. The better question is, who do I need to become in order to attract that level of success? Because success doesn't come to the person who simply wants it. It comes to the person who has earned it through preparation. If you want a better life, build a better you, because your life will never exceed the identity of the person running it. You don't get the life you dream about. You get the life you're prepared for. Let me give you a powerful idea. You don't just work on your goals, you work on yourself until your goals feel normal. Think about it. When you become the kind of person who's calm under pressure, focused when others are distracted, disciplined when others give in, responsible when others make excuses, then success starts looking for you. The goal becomes a reflection of the inner person, not an act of luck, but of character. Now here's the danger. If you achieve without growth, you'll sabotage the very thing you earned. We've all seen it. The athlete who made it big but wasn't mentally ready. The business person who got rich overnight and lost it just as fast. The person who got the relationship, the opportunity, the breakthrough, but their internal world couldn't handle it. And why? Because they focused on the achievement, but skipped the development. You can fake results for a while, but you can't fake character. And in the end, it's your character that carries the weight of your achievements. Here's what I've learned. It's not the goal that changes your life. It's who you have to become to reach it. You want to lead? Then become the kind of person others want to follow. You want financial freedom? Then become the kind of person who can manage and multiply resources. You want love, respect, trust, purpose? Then become trustworthy, respectful, loving, and purposeful. The external rewards are a mirror of your internal growth. So the question is not, what do I want to achieve? The real question is, what kind of person do I want to become? Ask that daily. Let it guide your decisions. Let it shape your habits. Let it filter your relationships. Because when you become better, everything around you improves. You'll make better decisions. You'll attract better opportunities. You'll handle failure with grace. You'll lead with clarity. You'll live with integrity. And suddenly, success stops feeling like a destination and starts feeling like a reflection of who you are. Here's what I encourage you to do. Every time you write down a goal, don't stop there. Underneath that goal, write this sentence. To achieve this, I must become, and fill in the blank. I must become more focused. I must become more generous. I must become more consistent. I must become more prepared, more intentional, more resilient. That's the real work. The achievement is a shadow, but the person, that's the substance. So today, stop chasing what you want and start becoming what you need. Grow your mindset, grow your skills, grow your standards, grow your courage, because in the long run, it's not what you achieve that will make you proud. It's who you became along the way. And the best part, no one can take that from you. Not the economy, not the critics, not the competition. That's yours to keep, for life. Now that we've established the foundation, that who you become is the real prize. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to build a daily schedule that prioritizes growth over busyness, depth over distraction, and progress over performance. Because success is not found in the rush, it's found in the routine. Let's move forward. Time management for personal growth. Don't spend major time on minor things. Let me tell you something that changed the course of my life. Time is more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but once a minute is gone, it's gone forever. That's why time management isn't just about getting things done. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be. You see, too many people are busy, but they're not becoming anything. They run from task to task, meeting to meeting, errand to errand. They fill their schedule, but forget to fill their soul. And here's the truth. Being busy doesn't mean you're growing. Only when you start managing your time with intention does growth begin. So what's the first step? You have to decide that growth matters more than just getting things done. Most people wake up and ask, what do I have to do today? But the successful person wakes up and asks, who do I want to become today? That one shift, from doing to becoming, will change how you use every hour. Let's get practical. If you want to grow, you must build time for it. On purpose. Growth doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't show up when you're scrolling your phone or watching television. It shows up when you schedule it, when you guard it, when you protect it like it matters. Because it does. So I recommend something simple. Make appointments with yourself for growth. Yes, real appointments. Just like a meeting with your boss or a client. Except this time the client is you. Block out 30 minutes a day to read something that sharpens your mind. Set aside 15 minutes in the morning to journal your thoughts or write your goals. Take 10 minutes before bed to reflect on the lessons you learned. Turn your commute into a classroom with audiobooks and podcasts. That's how you turn time into transformation. Now let's address something else. We live in a noisy world. There are distractions coming at you from every angle. Emails, notifications, social media, advertisements, breaking news, non-stop noise. And if you don't learn how to protect your time, someone else will use it for you. So here's a rule I live by. Don't spend major time on minor things. Learn to say no. Say no to time wasters. Say no to endless scrolling. Say no to things that keep you entertained, but not educated. Protect your mornings. Protect your evenings. Turn off what doesn't feed your future. Because if you're not careful, the urgent will keep replacing the important. And before you know it, the day is gone. And so is your progress. Let me remind you of something important. Growth is not found in chaos. Growth is found in routine. It's the small, quiet moments that build you up. It's the repeated disciplines, the intentional pauses, the focused hours. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things. Consistently. So ask yourself, is my calendar filled with activity or with intention? Am I making time to think, to learn, to grow? Or am I just reacting to life instead of designing it? Because here's the reality. If you don't design your day will design you, and that rarely ends well. Now let's talk about energy. It's not just about managing your time, it's also about managing your energy. You can have 2 hours on the clock, but if you're drained, distracted, and frustrated, you won't grow. So take care of your energy, like it's a limited resource. Because it is. Get sleep. Eat well. Move your body. Rest your mind. That's not a luxury, that's preparation. And preparation leads to performance. Because a tired mind can't grow. A stressed out soul won't absorb wisdom. A scattered schedule can't support discipline. Now here's a truth I want you to hold on to. The person you want to become will only emerge if you create space for them to grow. You won't stumble into growth. You have to carve it out of your schedule. You have to make it a non-negotiable. So look at your calendar right now. Where is your growth time? Where are the moments where you step out of the noise and into development? If it's not there, add it. Start small, but start now. Because every day that passes without growth is a day you won't get back. Let me close this chapter with a simple but powerful challenge. Stop scheduling your life only around tasks and to-do lists. Start scheduling your life around the person you want to become. Make time to read. Make time to reflect. Make time to plan. Make time to stretch your mind. Make time for silence. Make time to learn from people wiser than you. That's how you begin to live on purpose. That's how you multiply your value. And that's how you build a future worth waking up to. Time is your most precious resource. Use it not just to get things done, but to grow into someone you're proud of. Now let's move into the next chapter, where we'll dive into one of the biggest growth killers of all, procrastination, and how to finally break free from it. Let's go. The daily disciplines that shape your destiny. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Let's talk about a word that has built empires, transformed lives, and shaped greatness. That word is discipline. Not talent, not luck, not big breakthroughs. Discipline. Now don't confuse discipline with punishment. Discipline is not about restriction. It's about structure. It's about freedom earned. It's about designing your day so your future becomes inevitable. You see, most people wait for motivation, but the successful ones, they don't rely on feeling inspired. They rely on daily disciplines, because discipline will do what motivation can't. It'll show up when you don't feel like it. It'll keep you moving when the world tells you to stop. It builds character, and character builds everything else. Let me give it to you straight. Your life today is the result of the disciplines you practiced yesterday, and your future will be shaped by the disciplines you begin practicing today. People ask me, Jim, what's the secret to success? And I tell them it's not in the big leaps. It's in the small, consistent steps. Brushing your teeth won't change your life, but do it every day for 20 years, and you'll see the difference. Reading 10 pages of a good book won't change your life tonight, but do it every day for a year, and your thinking will transform. That's the compound power of discipline. Now let's talk about a few core disciplines that create powerful results over time. The first is the discipline of morning mastery. How you start your day often sets the tone for how it ends. Don't begin your day by reacting. Don't start by checking your phone, diving into chaos, or rushing out the door. Instead, create a quiet moment. Read something that feeds your mind. Write something that centers your focus. Move your body. Set an intention. You don't need 2 hours. Even 15 minutes can shift your mindset, but it has to be done on purpose. Next is the discipline of planning. Don't drift through your day. Design it. Take 5 minutes in the morning or the night before, and write down your top priorities. What matters most? What tasks move you toward your growth, your goals, your values? Don't confuse movement with progress. Don't be busy for the sake of being busy. Be strategic, be clear, be focused, because the person who plans with intention lives with direction. Now let's talk about the discipline of learning. You must become a student of life. Read good books. Listen to great thinkers. Ask better questions. Take notes. Reflect often. The mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of wisdom daily, one day you'll wake up surrounded by fruit. But if you neglect it, weeds grow fast. Confusion, doubt, laziness, distraction. Learning is not optional if you want to grow. It is essential. The person who stops learning has already started decaying. So make it a discipline. 15 minutes a day, 10 pages a day, a single idea applied. That's all it takes to gain the edge. Another powerful one, the discipline of follow-through. This one separates the talkers from the doers. Anyone can set a goal. Anyone can make a list. But the discipline to follow through, that's rare. So if you said you'd do it, do it. If you made a promise to yourself, keep it. Because your confidence grows every time you follow through. And it shrinks every time you break your own word. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. You don't have to be extraordinary. You just have to be reliable, especially to yourself. Now here's something important. Discipline is not what you do once. Discipline is what you do daily. Even when no one's watching. It's the food you choose to eat, the words you choose to speak, the thoughts you choose to believe, the habits you choose to repeat. These small choices shape your future. Because success doesn't happen suddenly. It happens slowly, then all at once, and it's built in the hidden places, in the quiet hours, in the things no one else sees, but you do them anyway. Here's the beauty of discipline. The more you practice it, the more it becomes your identity. At first it's hard. It feels like effort. It feels unnatural. But after a while, it becomes who you are. You don't just read books. You become a reader. You don't just go for runs. You become someone who values energy. You don't just plan your days. You become a person who lives with purpose. That's how discipline reshapes you, from the inside out. Let me leave you with this. Don't wait for the big moment. Build the right habits, and the big moment will come. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. And every time you act in alignment with your goals, even in the smallest way, you cast a vote for the future you're building. So start now. Start small, and keep going. Read a page, wake up 10 minutes earlier, choose a better meal, Say no to a distraction. Say yes to your priorities. One day you'll look back and realize your entire life was shaped by the small disciplines you kept when no one was looking, because daily discipline is destiny in disguise. Now let's move to the next chapter, where we'll explore how to create unstoppable momentum and use it to propel your growth forward, one powerful push at a time. Let's continue. When the goal changes, growth stays. The goal can move, the market can shift, the plan can break, but what you become through the process, that stays with you forever. Let me tell you something you may not hear very often. Goals can change, and that's okay. In fact, sometimes they should change. Life throws curveballs. The business plan falls apart. The career path shifts. The relationship ends. The economy flips. The rules change. And suddenly what you thought you were aiming for no longer exists. And if all you were chasing was the goal, that moment can break you. But if you were focused on growth, you'll bend, but you won't break. Because here's the truth. The goal may be temporary, but growth is permanent. Let me give you an example. I once met a young man who had a big dream to become a professional athlete. He trained, he sacrificed, he gave everything, but then one injury changed it all. Just like that, the goal was gone. Now here's the key part of the story. He could have let that destroy him, but he didn't. Instead, he asked a different question. He asked, what did I gain during the pursuit? Discipline, focus, work ethic, confidence, the ability to face pain and keep going. And that he took with him into a whole new career and became wildly successful. Not because the goal stayed, but because the growth stayed. That's the real win. Let me ask you this. What if the thing you're chasing right now disappears tomorrow? Would you still be proud of who you became while chasing it? Would you still stand strong with the lessons you learned, the habits you built, the mindset you sharpened? Because that's what lasts. Not the trophy, not the title, not the external reward. Those things can fade. But character, that doesn't fade. Growth is the only guarantee in an unpredictable world. Now, I'm not saying don't have goals. Of course you should. Goals give direction. They create urgency. They build purpose. But I am saying this: make your identity bigger than your achievements. Because goals can expire. But the person you become while working toward them, that's forever yours. You might change jobs. You might change cities. You might change dreams. But your discipline, yours. Your wisdom, yours. Your courage, your patience, your maturity, all yours. You take you into every season. Here's something else I want you to think about. Sometimes life shifts the goal. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. To show you that the real reward was never the outcome. It was the becoming. You see, growth is never wasted. Even when it looks like you failed. Even when the plan didn't work. Even when you didn't hit the number or cross the finish line. If you grew, you won. You became wiser, stronger, more resilient, more prepared. And sometimes, that new version of you is exactly what's needed for a goal you didn't even see coming. So here's a mindset shift for you. Don't chase the goal. Chase the growth. Because growth follows you. It builds on itself. It compounds. Let's say you were building a business, and it didn't work out. But what did you learn? You learned how to communicate, how to lead, how to budget, how to sell. That's growth. Now you carry that into your next venture. And now you're 10 times more valuable. Because of the you that came out of the process. That's why I always say, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because even if the job goes away, you are the asset that remains. So what do you do when the goal changes? You reflect, you review, you reset, and then you refocus on growth. Ask yourself, what did I gain during this season? What did I discover about myself? What did I learn that I can apply forward? Because forward is where you're going, not backward. Don't cling to an old goal if it no longer fits your purpose. Cling to the growth. Cling to your discipline. Cling to your values. Those are your foundation, not the plan, not the target. You, your growth, your becoming. Let me close this chapter with a reminder you'll want to hold on to. Goals are not promises. They're pursuits. They're meant to guide you, stretch you, teach you, and sometimes redirect you. But growth is a promise. If you stay consistent, if you stay humble, if you stay committed, growth will always show up. And that means no matter what changes, you are never starting from zero. You are starting from wisdom, from strength, from experience. You are never empty-handed, not if you've been growing all along. So go ahead, set your goals, but build yourself first. Because when the goal changes, and one day it will, the growth stays. And that's what carries you into your next level of life. From chasing success to attracting it. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Let me begin with one of the most powerful lessons I ever learned. You don't chase success, you attract it. Now that might sound strange at first, because we've been taught our whole lives to go after it. Run faster, work harder, push more, out-hustle, outperform, outdo everyone. And yes, effort matters, action matters. But here's what's more important. Who are you becoming while you're taking that action? Because you can hustle all day, but if you're not becoming the kind of person success is drawn to, it won't last. It won't multiply. It won't feel meaningful. So let me say it again. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Let me explain. Imagine success is like a magnet, and that magnet responds to certain qualities: discipline, character, integrity, consistency, courage, focus. The stronger those qualities are in you, the more powerful the attraction. That means you don't need to chase opportunity. You become the kind of person who draws opportunity. You don't need to beg for success. You build yourself until success shows up at your door and wants to stay. This isn't fantasy. This is how life works. People want to work with people who are sharp. People want to follow leaders who are grounded. People want to do business with those who are consistent, trustworthy, and growing. So if you want more success, don't run faster. Become better. Now listen closely to this next part. If you're constantly chasing something, always desperate, always needing, you're sending the wrong signal. You're telling the world, I'm not ready, I'm not confident, I'm not valuable yet, and the world responds accordingly. But when you become the kind of person who adds value, lives with purpose, shows up with integrity, you change the signal. You're not chasing, you're inviting, you're attracting. It's not about arrogance, it's about alignment. You become the kind of person that people want to be around, that people want to trust, that success wants to follow. Here's a question for you. Instead of asking, how can I get more? Try asking, how can I grow more? More skill, more insight, more clarity, more presence, more humility, more consistency. Because when you grow in these areas, success becomes almost inevitable. You don't have to scream for attention. You command attention by who you are. And that kind of power, it can't be bought. It must be built. Let's go even deeper. There's a difference between pursuing and attracting. Pursuing says, I need this to validate me. Attracting says, I've become someone who naturally receives this. One comes from lack, the other from abundance, and people can feel the difference. The job interview, the client pitch, the relationship conversation. If you walk in needy, unsure, desperate, people back away. But if you walk in certain, grounded, and full of value, people lean in. That's attraction. And it all starts with your inner work. Now, I'm not saying don't work hard. You should work hard. You must take action. But don't let action replace development. Don't just work harder. Work better. And the way you work better is by working on yourself. Ask yourself, am I developing the mindset of someone who succeeds? Am I cultivating the habits of someone others trust? Am I building the character that success can depend on? Because once you become that person, you won't need to chase anymore. People will seek you out. Opportunities will begin to find you. Doors will open, not because you knocked, but because your name meant something. Let me give you something practical. Here are a few ways to become a person who attracts success. Number 1, be consistent. Anyone can show up once. Very few show up every day. Consistency builds trust with others and with yourself. Number 2, be teachable. Stay open. Stay humble. Never think you've arrived. The moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. Number 3, be valuable. Don't just take, give. Bring solutions. Solve problems. Add energy, insight, encouragement. Become known as someone who makes things better. And number 4, be clear on your identity. Don't pretend. Don't perform. Be genuine. Be strong. Be intentional. The more aligned you are internally, the more powerful your presence externally. Here's the principle I want you to walk away with. Success is not something to chase in the world. Success is something you become in the mirror. When you align your thoughts, your habits, your character, your mission, success doesn't run from you. It runs to you, not overnight, but always on time. So stop asking, how do I get more? Start asking, how do I become more? Because once you grow into the right kind of person, you'll never have to chase again. Success will recognize you, and say, there you are. I've been waiting for you. Now let's move on to the next chapter, where we'll explore the price of growth and why the sacrifices you make today are always less than the regrets you avoid tomorrow. Are you ready? Growth requires sacrifice, but it's always worth it. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. Let me tell you something simple but powerful. Everything of value requires sacrifice. You want a stronger body? You'll sacrifice comfort. You want a stronger mind? You'll sacrifice time. You want financial freedom? You'll sacrifice short-term pleasure. You want personal growth? You'll sacrifice your excuses. There's no other way. There's no shortcut. There's no secret door. Every step forward demands that you leave something behind. And that's not bad news. That's great news. Because it means you have a choice. You get to decide what you'll trade. And if you trade wisely, the return is worth far more than what you gave up. Now let me be clear. Sacrifice doesn't mean suffering. It means investment. It means priority. It means you've made a conscious decision that growth is worth more than comfort. And I'll tell you something I learned a long time ago. Comfort is easy to get into, but hard to get out of. And growth is hard to get into. But once you do, it opens the doors to a life you didn't even know was possible. So what are you willing to give up? Because here's the truth. If you want real change, something has to go. You can't have transformation and cling to everything that's holding you back. Think of it like this. You're carrying a backpack, and it's full. Old habits, bad routines, negative associations, limiting beliefs, mindless distractions. And now you want to add growth, discipline, focus, new habits, new results. Well, there's no room. Something's got to come out before something better can go in. That's sacrifice. And it's the first sign you're serious. So let's get practical. You want to grow? You may have to sacrifice that extra hour of sleep to build a morning routine. You may have to turn off the television and pick up a book. You may have to spend your evenings learning instead of just scrolling. You may have to say no to people who drain you. And yes to solitude that builds you. And yes, that's hard at first. But here's the key. Everything feels like a sacrifice until it becomes a standard. At first it's effort. Then it's habit. Eventually it's who you are. That's how growth works. Now I know what some people say. Jim, I don't have time. Jim, it's not the right season. Jim, I don't want to give that up just yet. And I get it. I've heard it all. But let me ask you this. What is it costing you to stay the same? Because while you're protecting your comfort, you might be postponing your calling. While you're avoiding sacrifice, you might be choosing regret and not even realizing it. You see, growth always costs something. But stagnation, that costs everything. Your joy, your confidence, your peace, your future. Now I'm not saying you need to give everything up. I'm saying you need to give up what no longer serves you. That old story you keep repeating. That toxic relationship you keep entertaining. That bad habit you keep justifying. That lie you keep believing. You can't grow and hold on to those things. They don't go where you're going. They were built for who you were, not for who you're becoming. So yes, growth requires sacrifice. But that sacrifice is the price you pay to step into a better version of yourself. And you're worth that price. Let me share this with you. You're always sacrificing for something. The question is, are you sacrificing comfort for growth? Or are you sacrificing growth for comfort? Are you sacrificing entertainment for education? Or are you sacrificing your future to feel good in the moment? Every choice is a trade. And the trade you make today determines the life you'll live tomorrow. So choose wisely. Let me give you one more principle. Sacrifice doesn't feel good right away, but it feels right in the long run. No one celebrates when the alarm goes off early. No one cheers when they walk away from a distraction. But you know what? That's okay. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You need direction. And growth will give it to you. If you're willing to pay the price. And here's what I promise you. Whatever you give up to grow, you'll get back multiplied. Better health, deeper relationships, more clarity, stronger confidence. A life that feels built, not borrowed. It's always worth it. So let me close with this. Growth will cost you something, but not growing will cost you everything. Comfort feels good now, but growth feels good later, and for a lot longer. Don't be afraid to let go of something small, to reach for something greater. Make the trade, pay the price. Step into your next chapter, with intention, because sacrifice is the soil where transformation takes root. And you, my friend, are ready for that kind of harvest. Surround yourself with growth-minded people. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Let's begin with a foundational truth that has shaped my life and the lives of thousands I've mentored. You don't grow in isolation. You grow in the right environment. And part of that environment, maybe the most important part, is people who you listen to, who you walk with, who you allow into your head, your heart, and your habits. If you're serious about growth, you have to get serious about your circle. Let me tell you something plain and clear. If you spend enough time around small thinking, you will start shrinking. If you hang around people who make excuses, soon you'll be making them too. If you spend your time with those who complain, gossip, and waste their days, soon that becomes your rhythm. But if you get around people who think big, who talk solutions, not just problems, who value growth, integrity, discipline, then your standards rise automatically. You become more focused, more aware, more intentional. Why? Because growth is contagious. Now, I'm not saying you cut people off for no reason. I'm saying you have to protect your potential. Your time is limited, your energy is valuable, and your mindset is under constant construction. So ask yourself, are the people around me building me up or breaking me down? Do they challenge me or comfort me in my stagnation? Because here's the truth, you will outgrow people, and that's not cruelty. That's maturity. That's evidence of movement. That's growth. I'll say it this way, your direction is influenced by your connections. So if you want to go higher, you've got to walk with people who aren't afraid of heights, people who aren't intimidated by your ambition, people who push you to be better, not just feel better, people who celebrate your wins, not compete with them, people who tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. Find those people, value those people, grow with those people, because the right community doesn't just support your growth, it accelerates it. Let me give you a principle. You need 3 kinds of people in your life. First, someone ahead of you, a mentor, a coach, a leader, someone who's been where you're going. They show you what's possible. Second, someone beside you, a peer, a friend, a fellow warrior, someone who's on the same path. You push each other, you check each other, you rise together. Third, someone behind you, a student, a learner, a mentee, someone you can guide, because teaching reinforces what you've learned and reminds you how far you've come. You grow best when you're learning, collaborating, and leading, all 3. Now here's a question to ask yourself today. If I keep walking with the people I'm walking with now, where will I end up in 5 years? Look around. Do they inspire you? Do they stretch you? Do they hold you accountable? Or do they pull you down to fit their comfort zone? Because your future depends on this answer. It's not just about who's with you now. It's about who's equipped to walk with you where you're going. And if the answer isn't clear, it may be time to make adjustments. Let me tell you something else. The stronger your vision becomes, the smaller your circle might get. That's not a problem. That's a filter. Growth is a sorting process. Not everyone can come with you. Not everyone will understand the sacrifices you're making. Not everyone is willing to level up with you. And that's okay. Your job is not to drag people into your next chapter. Your job is to build it and let the right ones find their way to the table. Here's what I've learned. One conversation with the right person can unlock 10 years of growth. A single voice of encouragement can keep you from quitting. A moment of honest feedback can save you from a massive mistake. That's the power of connection. That's why you can't afford to walk this journey alone. Find growth-minded people, invest in those relationships, and just as importantly, become a growth-minded person for others. Because when you grow, and they grow, something incredible happens. You don't just build your future, you build a community that creates more futures. So here's the challenge. Audit your circle, upgrade your environment, protect your energy, and remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely, grow intentionally, and walk with those who refuse to let you settle. Celebrate progress, not just milestones. Success is not a destination, it's a direction. Let me begin with a simple truth that most people overlook. If you only celebrate the finish line, you'll spend most of your life feeling like a failure. You see, the world teaches us to celebrate milestones. The promotion, the big paycheck, the weight loss, the graduation, the achievement. And yes, those moments matter. We should honor them. But if those are the only moments you celebrate, you'll miss out on what really builds confidence, progress. Because progress is what happens in the in-between, in the quiet, in the repetition, in the effort nobody sees. Let me give you a simple picture. Success is not a single moment. It's a direction. And every step forward, no matter how small, is worth honoring. Think about it. You started reading, that's progress. You chose water instead of soda. That's progress. You got up 10 minutes earlier to work on your goals. Progress again. You didn't quit today, even though you wanted to. That's huge progress. But here's the catch. If you don't recognize your progress, you won't repeat it. You'll downplay it. You'll ignore it. You'll say, it's not enough. And when you say that too many times, your mind starts believing it. That's when motivation fades. That's when discouragement sets in, because your effort feels invisible, even to you. So let me challenge your thinking. Don't wait until the goal is finished to feel proud. Feel proud when the work is honest. Feel proud when the step is forward. Feel proud when you're becoming the person who finishes. We live in a culture that rewards perfection, but personal growth doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence. It comes from showing up, even when it's messy, even when it's slow, even when it's not Instagram worthy. That's real success. Here's a principle I teach. Don't measure your growth only by distance. Measure it by direction. You may not be where you want to be yet, but if you're further than you were last month, last week, or even yesterday, that matters. That should be celebrated. That's not just progress. That's the foundation of transformation. Let me say it again. Progress is not almost. Progress is power. Now you might be wondering, how do I celebrate progress the right way? Simple. You acknowledge it. You notice it. You pause, even for a moment, and say, I did something today that moved me forward. It may not look like much to others, but I know what it took. I know the old version of me would have avoided that step, and I took it anyway. That mindset builds belief, and belief is what fuels action, and action done consistently leads to outcomes. Let me give you another thought. The journey will always take longer than you hoped, but every step will take you further than you imagined. You've got to keep going, but you also have to look around every once in a while and see how far you've come. Because if you only look at how far you still have to go, you'll miss the miracle of your momentum. Think about this. That person who once doubted themselves, they're showing up now. That version of you who used to give up, they're getting stronger. That voice that used to talk you out of it, it's quieter now. That's not a milestone. That's mastery in motion. So here's what I want you to do. Create a system for celebration. Every week, take 10 minutes and ask yourself, what did I do this week that I'm proud of? What hard thing did I face instead of avoid? What habit did I stick to, even just once? Write it down. Speak it out. Celebrate it. You're reinforcing the belief that your efforts matter. And when your mind believes that, your consistency multiplies. Now let me speak directly to the high achievers. The ones who always want to do more, be more, achieve more. Listen, that ambition is powerful. But don't let it blind you to your progress. You don't have to slow down, but you do have to look back every now and then. Not to dwell, but to acknowledge, otherwise you'll burn out chasing the next goal. Because you never gave yourself credit for the one you just reached. You don't need a parade, but you do need permission to feel good on the journey. So here's the final truth. The fastest way to kill progress is to ignore it, and the fastest way to multiply it is to celebrate it. That's not ego. That's gratitude. That's self-awareness. That's fuel for what comes next. Because the person who celebrates progress is the person who keeps progressing. Let the world chase milestones. You celebrate the becoming. Make growth a lifestyle, not a project. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Let me ask you something. Is your personal growth a one-time event, or is it the way you live your life? Because if growth is just a goal, if it's just a 30-day challenge, or a burst of New Year's motivation, then it's only a project. Temporary, conditional. It lasts as long as your mood or your schedule allows. But if growth becomes your lifestyle, a way of thinking, a way of choosing, a way of showing up every day, now we're talking about something that changes your entire life. Let me be clear. Growth isn't something you graduate from. It's not something you check off like a to-do list. It's something you return to, daily, intentionally, for the rest of your life. Because no matter how far you've come, there's more to learn, more to refine, more to give, more to build. You don't grow because you're broken. You grow because you're becoming. And that never ends. Think of it like this. You don't brush your teeth once and say, well, that's it. I'm done forever. You do it every day. Because hygiene is a habit. Well, growth is the same. You don't read one book and say, now I know everything. You don't go to the gym once and say, now I'm healthy. You don't reflect once, journal once, stretch your comfort zone once, and call it a life of transformation. No, you build a lifestyle where those things happen consistently, where they become a part of who you are, not just what you do. That's the difference between short-term inspiration and long-term identity. Now let's get practical. How do you build a growth lifestyle? Here are 5 pillars. Number 1, curiosity. Stay hungry to learn. Ask questions. Seek understanding. Challenge your thinking. Never assume you've arrived. Number 2, discipline. Keep showing up. Not just when it's easy. Not just when it's fun. Daily effort, even in silence, builds unstoppable momentum. Number 3, reflection. Look back regularly. What worked? What didn't? What can you do better? Growth without reflection is motion without meaning. Number 4, environment. Surround yourself with people, tools, and habits that support your evolution. You rise or fall to the level of your surroundings. Number 5, purpose. Know why you're growing. Not just for a title, not just for income, but for impact, for legacy, for the person you're called to be. Now let me tell you what happens when growth becomes your lifestyle. You stop fearing failure because you know you'll grow from it. You stop chasing approval because you know you're building value from the inside out. You stop comparing because your only competition is who you were yesterday. That's freedom. That's maturity. That's power. You begin living from a deep well of strength because no matter what life throws at you, you know how to learn. You know how to rise. You know how to grow. And that means you're never stuck, never helpless, never finished. Now let me give you a principle that will stay with you forever. Your life changes permanently when you stop growing for a reason and start growing as a way of life. You don't grow just to get the promotion. You grow because excellence is your standard. You don't grow just to fix a problem. You grow because wisdom is your compass. You don't grow just to impress people. You grow because purpose is your fuel. It becomes automatic, expected, non-negotiable. That's not ego. That's evolution. Let me say this again, because it's that important. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because your job might change. The company might change. The world might change. But you take you into every season. And if you are prepared, if you are growing, you can thrive anywhere. That's the kind of person who doesn't just survive success, but sustains it, multiplies it, shares it. So here's how we wrap this journey. Don't treat growth like a phase. Treat it like your foundation. Let it be in your thoughts. Let it guide your schedule. Let it shape your relationships. Let it define how you lead, how you love, how you live. You'll never regret becoming better. You'll never look back and wish you hadn't grown. You'll never outgrow your need for wisdom, strength, and truth. And the more you grow, the more you'll attract everything that aligns with who you truly are. Not because you chased it, but because you became ready for it. So go ahead, read the books, ask the questions, build the habits, have the hard conversations. Keep showing up. Don't just grow for a season. Grow for a lifetime. Because when growth becomes your lifestyle, there's no limit to the life you can build. This is the beginning, not the end. Now go live it. Grow first. The goals will follow. If you want more, you have to become more. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. Let's bring it all together. Over the last 10 chapters, we've talked about goals, habits, growth, sacrifice, momentum, and mindset. We've uncovered principles that can change your life, not just for a season, but forever. But it all comes down to this one truth. You don't get the life you want by chasing goals. You get the life you want by growing into the person who can live it. That's the real message. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. Because while the world tells you to set bigger goals, move faster, push harder, I'll tell you something different. Start by growing. Start by building your character. Start by developing your discipline. Start by raising your standards, upgrading your environment, investing in your mind, and protecting your time. Because once you grow, everything else starts to move in your favor. Let me be real with you. Goals are important. They give you direction. They stretch your vision. They add urgency to your days. But goals without growth, they lead to frustration. They lead to burnout. They lead to short-term wins and long-term emptiness. That's why I say, don't just go for the goal, go for the growth. Because when you grow, you attract the goal. You become the kind of person who can handle it. And you build a version of success that lasts. Here's what I know about you, because you've made it this far. You're not interested in surface-level success. You're not looking for hacks or hype or shortcuts. You're building something deeper, something solid, something that lasts. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't just succeed occasionally, but live successfully, from the inside out. And that means you've already won. Because the decision to grow consistently, intentionally, every single day, that decision changes everything. So what now? Keep going. Keep building your disciplines. Keep refining your thinking. Keep surrounding yourself with the right people. Keep choosing progress over perfection. Keep honoring the process, even when it's slow, even when it's quiet, even when no one's watching. Because that's where transformation lives. That's where your future is formed. And always remember this. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So if you want more, become more. If you want a better life, build a better you. If you want your goals to chase you, then grow into someone they're drawn to. Grow first, and the goals will follow. That's the path. That's the promise. And that's the kind of life worth living. I'll see you at the top.